The man frantically yanked down the zipper on his wife's pants and pressed his face against her body, breathing in her familiar scent like a starving man. He wasn't acting like this because he had gone mad with desire. That image was still burned into his mind. The dish she had just placed on the table, raw chicken meat. The moment Jack saw it, he immediately threw up. When the vomiting finally stopped, he rushed back to his wife, tearing her clothes off in panic. Like someone possessed, he inhaled her scent over and over again, as if that was the only way to feel alive. The man's name was Jack. Not long ago, he was a respected cellist. His income wasn't high, but his wife Lucy never complained. Instead, she always encouraged him at night. But those peaceful days ended too quickly. After their final concert that day, the orchestra was suddenly disbanded. Jack lost his job overnight. Staring at the rent bill for their expensive apartment, he felt an unbearable weight crushing down on him. Lucy tried to comfort him, telling him that hardships don't last forever, but even her support wasn't enough to pull Jack out of his collapse. In the end, he sold his beloved cello. It felt like his heart was bleeding. With the money, he paid off the rent debt and moved with Lucy to the countryside to stay with relatives. Every day, Jack scanned newspapers for work, but the problem was simple. Music was the only thing he knew how to do. Then one day, an ad caught his eye. A job opening for an assistant, guiding tourist groups. No experience required. Without hesitation, Jack went for the interview. But when he arrived, he froze. It wasn't an office. It was a half-collapsed house on the outskirts of town. And in the corner, stood 3 coffins. Jack turned to leave immediately. But at that moment, the owner of the company walked in. His name was Tom. He glanced at Jack's resume, looked him over, and said he was hired. Before Jack could ask any questions, Tom showed him 5 fingers. That was the salary. Jack's eyes lit up instantly. The number was too tempting. But when he finally learned what the job actually was, the smile vanished from his face. It wasn't a tour company at all. It was a funeral service business. Jack wanted to refuse, but then the boss handed him an advance. $20,000 for the first day alone. That evening, Jack brought home his wife's favorite beef. He tried to make it a small celebration. He never told her what he really did for work. He was ashamed of it. From that day on, he left home every morning with a heavy heart. One day, the boss picked Jack up for another assignment. A body had been left in a house for 2 weeks before being discovered. The moment Jack stepped inside, he nearly fainted from the stench. Larvae crawled across the table. The sight of the decomposed body turned his stomach. Jack worked while holding back nausea, forcing himself through pure disgust. When he finished, he took the money from the boss and went home. Even on the bus ride back, that nightmare kept replaying in his mind. When the noise of the bus finally brought him back, he suddenly realized something. He himself reeked of death. He got off at the next stop and rushed to a bathhouse to scrub himself clean. But no matter how hard he scrubbed, the feeling of filth inside him wouldn't go away. When he returned home, he saw Lucy already setting the table. She had prepared his favorite dish, chicken sashimi. The moment Jack saw the raw meat, he vomited again into the sink. After emptying his stomach, he rushed to his wife and started tearing off her clothes once more. He buried his face in her scent, as if trying to erase the darkness inside him. That night, he couldn't sleep. Jack pulled out an old Valentine's gift box he had kept since childhood. Inside, wrapped in old sheet music, was a stone. Memory slowly pulled him back into the past. His father had given him that stone when he first started learning music. But now, his father's face was almost gone from memory. Only faint shadows remained. The next day, Jack stood by the riverbank in deep thought. He noticed small fish swimming stubbornly against the current, while dead fish drifted downstream above them. That scene deepened the crack inside his heart. At that moment, the boss arrived in his car and called him for another job. This time, the deceased was an elderly woman who had worked herself to exhaustion her entire life. After the farewell, Tom began preparing the body. He washed her, cleaned her face, and changed her clothes. Every movement was careful and respectful. He didn't treat her like a corpse, but like something precious. Tom erased the suffering and pale distortion from her face, restoring dignity and peace to her appearance. Watching this, Jack suddenly understood something. A funeral professional's work could be truly profound.